Episode 8, Leonard Cho Speaks. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
How you doing,
Oh
brother?
my God. I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Life is good. Things are happy.
It is. And they are.
So
That's
you,
fantastic.
it is. It's just the sun is out. It's 100 and I was outside 6 o'clock at night in Phoenix. It's 109 degrees.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I haven't been outside for a good couple hours, but it was in the high 80s.
It
But
maybe gets down to the high 80s.
humid, muggy as fuck. It's just.
We're getting into monsoon season, so we're getting ready for that one. It's we've had a couple of storms so far, but
What do you got,
nothing.
like quarter of an inch? Something like
Yeah.
that, or rain?
No, it'll flash flood, dude. It'll like we have what's called a haboob, like this wall of dust attacks Phoenix, and
Okay.
it drops like 20 or 30 degrees, and it rains like hell, and then it goes away, and it's just muggy and in the mid 80s, and it's not bad. And then the next day starts, and it gets hot again. So this episode, you wanted to do, you wanted to do Throne Game.
I wanted to do Game of Thrones, just because the sixth season finale just happened, and there was a big reveal.
You can talk all you want to about it. I don't watch it yet.
I know you need to.
When the
Um,
series ends, I will. I'll sit down and just binge watch them straight through.
dude, there's no desperation to that kind of watching.
It
There's
sucks,
no.
dude. That's Battlestar Galactica. I got the first two seasons on DVD, watched them, and then I was
There
like,
was
all
only
right,
one season of Battlestar Galactica.
the new one.
I'm sorry. The what?
Oh, that's right. You don't acknowledge the new one, do you, you dickhead? Watch the first.
That's
What?
that is one of those things. Everyone tells me it's great. Joe eventually flipped sides and started watching it. And he's like, "You just gotta watch them. You just gotta watch them. They're
Yeah.
great." And people I know, love, respect, they all tell me it's a great show. I don't doubt it. I'm sure it is. It's just not for me.
You got a problem with Starbuck being a girl.
I've I have a problem with that actress, Kati Sackhoff. Not a fan,
Wow.
especially since if you're gonna make Starbuck a woman, she better be prettier than Dirk Benedict.
Dude,
Power
she.
up the Wayback Machine 36 years. That was a pretty man. He was seriously man pretty. He was the face man, for God's sake. La Facha, okay?
He was in a movie
Of the
called
18.
Scavenger Hunt. I don't know if you ever saw Scavenger Hunt. We've talked about this before, I think.
What was Scavenger Hunt?
Oh God, it's got like Richard Benjamin in it. Schwarzenegger's actually in it. It's this guy. It's like a Warner Brothers dies, and he's got this extended family, and he goes, "All right, well, you guys can have all my stuff, no problem, but we're gonna have a scavenger hunt, and may the best man win. Go for it." And everybody has to go in a scavenger hunt. Whoever has the most points gets his estate. And
Okay.
it was Vincent Price.
I'm thinking I saw when I was a kid,
Oh,
maybe.
I got a
But I
copy
was
of it.
thinking it made me think of a movie called maybe it was called Midnight Madness.
I've
It
got
was
that.
that's the one. It's like one of Michael J.
Michael J.
Fox's
Fox.
first
Yeah.
films, and David Naughton, the dude from American Werewolf in London, he's in that.
Really?
He's like the guy.
He was in a Dr. Pepper commercial also.
Oh,
I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. The guy dancing, that's him. That's the American Werewolf, but he's not in London.
wow.
He's like in Philadelphia or something doing that.
Matt LeBlanc was in a ketchup commercial.
Way.
Yeah. All right. Well, wait. Because do you ever remember it was a Heinz commercial? I'm pretty sure because it was how Heinz is so thick and everything. And it's tell me if you remember this because it's the guy. he's like on a rooftop, like a two-story building. He's on the rooftop, and he like pops he lays the bottle of ketchup on its side, going over the tip of the roof, and he goes, "Yeah," and then he goes down and like has his hot dog out,
Hmm.
and he's ready to catch the ketchup. You remember that? That was my
Yeah,
little moment.
totally. That was
That
wow.
was
I guess it
dude
was.
from France.
And Al Leong, I think, was in a shaving commercial. Were you the one who spotted him? You spotted him. Or maybe it was a soap commercial.
He was no, I don't remember it.
I remember you getting a hold of me. There was some. Again, this is right when we were in the middle of our Al Leong freak out, which
Right.
we still are. But this is when we
Well,
first were discovering Al.
things slow down.
And yeah, the guys, he can only do so much. And I remember you calling me up. I'm like, dude, Al's in a commercial. But anyway, the whole thing with the waiting to what until the series ends. Battlestar Galactica, I had the first two seasons on DVD, and then I was like, "Hey, where's season 3?" And they're like, "Yeah, no, they're filming that right now. You got to wait like a year." And I was like, "This sucks." So, other than Breaking Bad, and The Shield, I think are the only two series I've ever really gotten into as it was going. But like Lost, I waited until Lost ended. Then I just sat down and binge watched them all. And you could totally tell when the writer's strike happened and Damon Lindelof started writing, and now yeah, and then it went to shit.
You're like in serious Klingon blood feud with Lindelof, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, it's places try to protect him and say, oh, he had nothing to do with Prometheus. He was just there fixing the script and stuff, and really it was Ridley Scott the whole time. And I'm like,
Hey, you know what? It's a Ridley Scott film.
well, it is.
And here's my thing. Ridley Scott is a guy. He's one of those guys. Dude's powerful. Okay, the producer is probably lucky to get let in the room when Ridley Scott is directing. So you know what? If his movie tanks, it's on him. He's the name. If he didn't have a great script, he should have waited for a better script.
A friend of mine,
And
my buddy of mine, refers to him as directorial masturbation. He goes, look at him. Every time he does a shot, it's this big, huge, beautiful shot. And it's like, look at me, I can direct. Isn't this a great shot? I'm going to make you look at it for 45 seconds.
yeah, there was a big uproar last year. People were pissed that he didn't get nominated for The Martian. And The Martian, have you seen it?
No,
Have you read it?
no. We talked about
Lose.
this last week, and I didn't get around to it this week. I'm sorry.
Okay, you should be. Well,
I,
anyway,
yeah.
it's a great book, great flick. It's one of those weird flicks. Okay, if we talked about this last week, God,
It's been a week. We don't
I'm like a
remember.
friggin' goldfish. We're in episode 8. Probably like 45% of every episode is the same thing that we're talking about every week because I can't remember. But great book. It's one of those rare. It's one of those weird movies where I love it and I'm disappointed by it. Like I was disappointed by some things, and I really wanted. There was stuff that got left out, of course, that I wanted in there, and some things I had a problem with. But I've seen the movie like I don't know 15 times. I don't know. Some nights we just pop it on. It's a great fucking flick.
That's saying
And
something.
and what I really love about it is because in the book, Mark Watney, that's the astronaut, he's got a potty mouth. The first line of the book is, "Well, I'm fucked." And he's telling the story of how he got left behind on Mars he recounts it in the first chapter of the book. The movie is very well crafted in the beginning, but anyway, so Watney's a potty mouth. They wanted a PG-13 rating. So and usually with PG-13, as I understand it, the rule is you get one. You get one F bomb. They pushed the limit. They had two because one of the early scenes in the movie is because he gets uh, lightly impaled with this thing,
Hmm.
and he has to pull it out and kind of do a surgery on himself. It's a great sequence. The makeup is great. He's digging the thing out of himself, and he has to staple himself up and everything. You'll love it. But and so then he's like, "Fuck,"
Nice.
and then they push the limit. They go for two. They got two F bombs because then, like a short time later, when he's working on his survival plan and you know he's doing a lot of physical labor and he's guzzling
So
down.
what's it about? About a guy who's like stranded on Mars?
Yes,
Okay, there we go.
and how he has to survive in a place where nothing grows.
Fucking awesome.
He's in a hab designed to last 31 days, and it's going to be 4 years before someone can get to him.
Holy shit. Okay,
Seriously.
so the second fuck comes.
The second fuck comes because he's like guzzling down a juice. Fuck you, Mars. Okay, and he just moves on from there. But then later in the film, when he has contact with NASA, because he has to go. There's the Mars rover. It's like the cab is like the size of a small, like a minivan, like an Astrovan,
Hmm.
is what he's in. But there's big. It's all glass around it. So what Ridley Scott does is he moves the shot outside the rover. So if you're the camera, you know, I'm Mark Watney. I'm back here because you're looking at me through the glass, so
Right.
you can't hear me. And I get some news from NASA that I don't like. So he's like,
I'm
"So
gonna
you
put the
can't
camera
hear it."
outside the glass. Yeah.
So he's not actually saying it. And then when they're reading his reply, because it's all text communication, it's not live because it
Hmm.
takes minutes. Um, and the guy is reading his responses aloud, for the benefit of the audience. And the guy comes up and he's like, "What the f word? F word in German form? I think you're f word again." It's a great play.
Oh my gosh. So what's
But
going
anyway,
on with this? So, but anyway, what?
oh, Game of Thrones. We,
I
we
was
have
yeah.
I'm like tacking back into the wind. We are adjusting
I
course.
have no notes
Okay.
once again. I have like nothing. I was just like working on some other shit, and
Yeah, it's what it is. It's
it is
okay.
what
I
it
got
is.
this one. We're talking about Jon Snow.
Well, it's your podcast, brother. Let's go. What's the deal with this Jon Snow fella?
Okay, so Sean Bean is in the first season, right? He's Ned Stark.
Sean Bean.
Ah,
Consult the Oracle. I'm slipping these days, man.
GoldenEye. He was Trevelyan, 006, the bad guy. Okay, okay, Sean Bean. Okay,
Yeah, I got the Google.
he dies in everything.
All right.
He's like ooh, Paul.
Oh, that guy. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know him.
Okay, you know who that is.
Yeah.
Question for the ages: why does his name not rhyme? I don't understand that.
Sheen Bean.
British
Scene
people.
Bean. IMDb.
He
IMDb in
should
this
be he
guy.
should be Sean Bond or Sean Bean.
The Frankenstein Chronicles. The Young Messiah. The Martian. Pixels. Ugh.
Yeah, he's in The Martian. He's in The Martian. But unfortunately, and this is all on Ridley Scott. We'll talk after. You know what? You got to see The Martian. That way we can talk about The Martian.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing all the talking on The Martian. You've got to see it, and then we can like.
Yeah.
You can be all,
Back and
"Oh, this is
forth.
awesome,"
I
and
got.
I'll say, "Yes, I know."
I gotta give myself homework and like do something once a week. But I got invited to the alpha test closed beta. It's the Battlefield One closed alpha test.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of what I've been doing. I don't even know if I'm supposed to talk about that. There's like an NDA and all this other shit, and they're like, you
Well,
can
if there was
record
an
it,
NDA, you're probably not supposed to talk about it. I'm
and they
pretty
were
sure.
like, well, everybody sees like if you're on my friends list on what's called Origin, you'll see that I'm playing the fucking game. So it's like unless they hit it, because I know people who are on it, and it says they're playing Battlefield 4. I'm like, I wonder if he's really playing Battlefield 4, or if he's playing Battlefield 1, but they have it disguised.
Or if he's all fronting,
Please,
trying
people,
to
don't
think he's
call
cool.
EA and let them know that. I don't even know what. I'm not gonna say my name. Because I go by a totally different name. My online persona versus my real life persona are two different people, and there's my gamer persona. And it's fucking crazy. So, Sean Bean in
Right,
Throne
Sean
Game.
Bean. So he's Lord Eddard Stark. They call him Ned, and he's up in the north. Super honorable guy. Like Captain America says, "Sir, I salute you." But the one skeleton in his closet, the one blemish on his honor, is 17 years ago when he went off to war with his good friend Robert. Uh, he was away at war for like a year, and he came back with a kid. He came back with a bastard son,
Ah,
and and so he is Lord Stark. And one of the great things about this world, the world, the it's Westeros is the nation where they live. Bastard children get generic surnames based on where they live.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're a bastard in the South, where it's very arid, very dry, very much like your climate, you would be a sand. If you're in what is it in High Garden? Are you a rose? Because their emblem's a rose. Anyway,
So depending on where
they
you're
get
from, that's yeah.
they get generic surnames, and that's why he is Jon Snow. He's a bastard in the North. Uh, and so naturally, Ned was married to his wife for a very short time before this happened, arranged marriage, because Ned's wife was going to marry Ned's big brother, but Ned's big brother got killed, which is part of the reason for the big war. And so that's what was going on there. So he comes
Yeah, lay
back
off
with
the
this.
Everclear, dude. I see you drink that stuff, and I'm like, you're doing it straight.
Hey,
That wife of
gotta
yours, I'm
gotta
telling you, she's a bad
gotta feel
influence.
alive, man. But anyway, so Jon Snow grew up. Pardon me. Jon Snow grows up. Catelyn Stark, the lady of Winterfell, that's their home in the north. Uh, of course, she hates him because he's this other woman's child.
Yeah.
But Ned had him living there, and he grows up very much removed. He is in the castle, but he doesn't eat with the family. He eats out there, and he's educated in the same way: read, write, fight, all that stuff. But oh Jesus, my cat is craving
Oh,
attention.
I thought Jesus showed up. Man, I was like, what? You found him?
No, no,
No.
no. If I did, I'd tell him, "Hey, fuck you, pal. How's about some hands-on here? How's
I
how's
found
it?
him. Well, how about what?
Jesus, take the wheel, okay? Can you fucking do something?"
I found him one time. He was underneath the cushions of the couch. I was looking for my keys, and I found Jesus. It was great.
Yeah. So you said, hey, "Jesus, where the fuck are my keys?"
Jesus Christ, where are my keys at?
Jesus,
Jesus
Harry,
Christ, what happened
Christ.
to my car? Jesus Christ, how come I'm almost out of gas? And he just kind of went like this, and he started playing a song through his hands by whistling, blowing through them, and it make a whistle sound. Because the stigmatas. You just
I
see him
got,
blow a bubble, sticks his hand in the bubble
I
mix,
got.
and just kind of wiggles it back and forth. So, all right, so you
Awesome.
got Jon Snow, who is just kind of a bastard child. He is a bastard child, but
He's a bastard child,
he's
but
got all the same stuff that everybody else does, but they just kind
he's
of like, yeah, we don't talk about him.
he has it, but not. When there's a feast where all the nobles come, he has to go and sit outside so he doesn't offend anyone with his presence.
Gotcha.
And of course, Catelyn Stark, the mother of all his brothers and sisters, hates his stinking guts to no end.
Now, who's his mom? Have they talked about? Ah, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, the
that was
finger.
just revealed on the show.
Interesting.
And in this first book, A Game of Thrones, they
Is it called A Game of Thrones or The Game of Thrones or just Game of
a
Thrones?
a Game of Thrones, A Game of
Oh,
Thrones,
okay.
and so and that's one of the big points of speculation throughout the course of the book is who is his mother, who is this, and Ned's friend Robert, who is a total hedonist. He's all about getting laid, getting drunk, and he's king. So
Nice.
he's the realm is kind of in trouble because he's a very hands-off ruler. He just wants to drink, get laid, all that shit.
Mhm.
Um, and so he's teasing him about it, and he's like, "Must have been a rare wench to make Ned Stark forget his honor for a night." And Ned's like, yeah, shut the fuck up. And he will not talk about it.
Because
He
this guy's like
never.
Captain America. There's no fucking way somebody who's like Captain America. Who did he come to your house last night? Yesterday was the 4th. This is July 5th. Did you
Cookies
leave
were
cookies
gone.
out for him? No
I let
kidding.
I
Wow.
left cookies and milk out. They were gone.
Yeah, a lot of people, if you don't know this, it's the 4th of July. You have to leave cookies and milk out for Captain America.
Or be labeled a traitor.
Now, I've had some people, there was debate on this. Do you leave them out the night of the 3rd? And apparently, some, American religions believe this. You leave the cookies and milk out the night of the 3rd, and when you wake up on the 4th, the cookies and milk are gone, and in its place are fireworks.
I don't do that. I always leave him out for after the fireworks because I figure he's been out, visiting various fireworks celebrations. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Oh,
I put
okay.
him out. I put him out on July 4th.
Some
That way,
people do it the other
it's
way.
like a
It's
recuperation and recovery thing.
Well, it's like on Christmas. Some people open their presents on Christmas Eve. Some do it Christmas morning. Some don't do it at all. Jerks.
Yeah,
So we got a Captain America like person runs off to war.
comes home with a bastard son,
Yeah.
and now the bastard uh, well, it's good because Ned had conceived a child with his wife before he left. So his trueborn son is a bit older than Jon Snow. So there's no real contention there. But they're the same age. They were born within a few weeks of each other.
Hmm.
So they grew up very close, even though, his half brother has to go out and, sleep in the shed or
Yeah.
wherever he sleeps. He doesn't sleep in the shed, but he's not in the family quarters and what
Hmm.
have
He's
so
like,
he's
does
got
he hang out with like the servants and stuff, or
a
he's not
lot.
that low? Oh, he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he's, kind of does whatever he can. He is with his siblings and everything, training and all that. But, at mealtime when they're going to sit down with their mother, yeah, he's some.
Yeah, he's not around. Mom doesn't want to see him.
And in this world, so they're in the north. So picture them,
They're from
uh,
Minnesota.
Minnesota, North Dakota. Picture them as the
All right.
Starks. Then, like north of them, at the top of Canada, is the Wall. It's a 700-foot high, 300-mile wide wall of ice that is manned by the Night's Watch. These guys.
Ah.
Uh,
Why is
this is their
there a
vow.
wall up there? Is there like Frosty the
Well,
Snowman and his people, or?
pretty much. It's to defend against the White Walkers and all these creatures out of Nightmare, which haven't been seen for 1,000 years. So everyone who's comfy and safe south of the wall is like, I don't believe in giants and grumpkins and White Walkers. Turns out all this shit is real and it's coming for you. But
Nice. Have you
so the
seen him in
night,
the show?
yes, the show opens with some of them being encountered. That's because the fit hits the shan big time in this first book, ignites this huge civil war, and the White Walkers are coming from the north. Now,
Oh.
so because these threats aren't taken seriously, the Night's Watch is hurting for members. Their numbers are dwindling,
Hmm.
and it was always a very honorable thing for one son of all the highborn families. Usually it was like the middle son who's not going to inherit anything. He would go, and it's called taking the black because they all wear black up there. They are the Black Brothers. They're referred to as crows, and they swear a vow that they pledge their life to the Night's Watch. That they hang on.
Oh.
Hear my words and bear witness to my vow. Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall wear no crowns and win no glory. I shall live and die at my post. I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings the dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men. I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch, for this night and all the nights to come. That's their. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Did I
What?
just did
No,
I
come
just
here.
swear to be? I was just reading. I wasn't actually swearing that. I still
Oh.
want women and stuff.
Oh, you didn't have it memorized, which I'm really shocked because you did the whole mole and nose thing like fucking straight from memory.
The problem is they. You know what it is? It's dialogue. I'm great with dialogue. If I hear it, I can nail it pretty good.
They
But
didn't say it in the TV show.
they did say it in the TV show, but they edited it a bit they trimmed a couple sentences just to
Ah,
have it flow a little better on screen. So I could probably rattle off that one pretty good, but I wanted to make sure I got it all because it's
nice.
fucking cool. I don't know why you had to trim it, but anyway. So that's their vow. They don't inherit anything. They are just there to guard the wall. And so that's what Jon Snow does. He goes north and he takes the black.
Makes sense.
And there are hints over the course of the books because there have been 5 books at this point, and there are various perspective characters. you see the story through the eyes of various people.
Okay, yeah.
That's how the narrative unfolds. And these are all in different places, and several people have had their theories about who Jon Snow's mother is, who the mother of Ned Stark's bastards. Because Ned Stark, he's one of the high lords of this realm. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows he's a man of honor. Everyone knows he has a bastard son. Naturally, people talk about it,
Yeah.
and so there are all these theories out there. One of the fan theories is that Jon Snow is not Ned Stark's son.
Oh.
One of the fan theories is that Jon Snow was born to Ned's sister, and Jon Snow's father was the prince, which would make Jon Snow the heir to the throne.
Oh.
And I didn't pick up on that myself when I read the book the first time, but after hearing this theory, you reread A Game of Thrones, and it's just like, oh my God, that's so obvious. That's totally what it is.
That's
The
it's
theory is called R plus L equals J. Rhaegar plus Lyanna equals Jon. And that's what was just confirmed uh, in the season finale
no shit.
this season.
That's fucking
And
awesome.
and I'm sure you've heard about, even not reading or watching this, I'm sure you've heard that there are a lot of people not happy with George R. R. Martin because of
Um,
how long he takes to write books.
yeah, but I mean, a lot of people take a long time to write books and stuff. But I honestly, when it comes to throne game stuff,
See this book?
you've told me more about throne games than I've ever heard or cared to hear because I'm just like, I'm gonna stay away from it until it ends. Now I just
Yeah.
don't give a fuck. So
But I'm sure, you said, yeah, a lot of people take a long time to read books. This book, A Game of Thrones, the first book,
I said write books.
write book. A lot of people take a long time to write books,
Yeah.
and that's perfectly fair. That book came out 20 years ago.
What the fuck?
That book came out in 1996. That book came out when my godson was 3.
Holy
That book came
shit!
out when I was 24.
Wow.
I'm totally blanking on movies, but that book probably came out the year like The Last Action Hero came out or some shit.
Yeah, sounds about right. Maybe Armageddon, or was Armageddon '98?
Yeah, I think it's a little later 90s. But anyway, yeah, 20 years ago that book came out. The second book
Fuck.
came out like a year or two later, and that's when you started getting some truly epic waits between books. And
And there's 5 books you said, right?
there are 5 out. It's supposed to be a 7-book series.
So we're
When
talking like one book every 5 years,
is
four
what it's
years.
averaging out to, yeah.
Yeah, every 4 years you get a book. So when did the last one come out?
The last one came out 5 years ago, I think. I think it was 2011. And it's been announced that the new one's not coming out this year. He releases sample chapters every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, fuck you, I don't want a sample chapter. Give me a book.
Now, one thing I've heard is he's gone to the people at HBO and like sat down with the writers, closed the door, lock it, turn on the white noise, and go, okay, in case I die, in case something happens to me, here's how I'm gonna end it.
I don't think it's as much a in case I die type of thing. I think it's just, because they needed to know the story so that they know what's important, like because the series isn't done, but they're starting, and it was Martin who was kind of, because people were coming to him for years wanting to make a Game of Thrones into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 800-page book. You can't fit this book into a movie.
Fuck no.
That's the great thing about the first season. It's basically a 10-hour movie. That's what's going on there.
I've heard it's verbatim. Like my buddy Brian was like watching the
It's
TV show and he started reading the book. He goes,
it's not
"This is
verbatim, but it's one of the most faithful adaptations out there.
that's nice when they do
It's
that."
it is. It's because the paperback is like 700. It's a little over 800 pages,
Wow.
and the scene that ends the first, and the season is 10 episodes. The scene that ends the pilot episode is like page 75. So it's like 1/10 of the book is that first
Fucking
tenth of the
nice.
season.
Yeah.
It's just how that worked out. But but it's nice. It's a great adaptation,
So as I've been told, I've
and
been hearing that it's like they've caught up with the books in the TV show.
they have passed the
Oh,
books. And here's the thing, and I mean, I know I was reading in Entertainment Weekly a couple years ago when the show is chugging along and they're chewing up because Martin, he's very wordy. The guy could use some editing. The guy could use someone who can say, George, we don't really need 400 pages of the characters miserably trudging through the red waste.
that's how I felt about
It's
Anne
just,
Rice reading Interview with the Vampire.
I didn't dig that book.
Neither did I.
It was just too much.
Yeah.
And so so naturally the show is moving faster than the books, and there was an interview in Entertainment Weekly where it was Martin sitting with the two showrunners being interviewed by Entertainment Weekly, and the journalist asks, so what happens if you start to pass the books? And all three of them just got very quiet. No one was talking about that
Ooh.
because Martin was convinced that he could catch up. He was convinced that he could catch up, deliver another book, and one of the books they kind of split into across two seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So he was thinking, I'll deliver another book. That'll give them two more seasons of stuff to do. That'll give me 2 more years to write the last one. And well, that hasn't happened, needless to say. And so there's one character. This was season 6 that just ended.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one character who we didn't see at all in season 5. We saw this character reach the last known whereabouts in the books, and then they left. They didn't touch him for a year. They were giving Martin a chance to catch up, to put out his books and because okay, let me just talk for a second about this whole thing, because there are a lot of fans who are very militant and not happy at all with George R. R. Martin, like to the point where they're like harassing him online and on Twitter and all these things. And um, Neil Gaiman wrote a very, very nice piece, a defense of George R. R. Martin, basically telling everyone, yes, the author has not entered into a contract with you. He owes you nothing. He is a writer. He puts out books. He tells stories. You take them or don't as you wish. And that's very true. I mean, these people, I mean, you can be ticked off at George R. R. Martin. That's cool. But if you're harassing the guy,
It's not
you're,
cool.
you've gone too far. That's not cool. On the other hand, I have absolutely no sympathy for George R. R. Martin because he's 20 years ago. Thank the gods I just started reading these like 5 years ago. So I can't imagine what some poor sap who read that when it first came out has been feeling.
Right.
So, one, he went to them. Like I said, people were wanting to make this into a movie, but Martin told his agent, no, this can't be a movie. This needs to be a series on like HBO or something so they can
Mm-hmm.
do it right. Go forth, make it happen. Guy made it happen.
He got it. You got everything you wanted, buddy.
They they made it this show. This show, which is now the biggest show on the planet. The biggest show, and they watch the show all over the world.
It's not bigger than
It's
Seinfeld. Ah, okay, maybe it is. I don't know.
it might be, although that's I think Seinfeld was out at the same time as these
As the
shows.
book came out, right?
So, yeah, the
It's
Thrones
probably
may have
sitting on like Jerry's like bookshelf back there with the Superman statue. There's Game of Thrones.
could be.
I'm
And it
almost
might
done
so
watching Barney Miller. I sat down and I went through.
boom,
I love Barney Miller. 8 episodes or 8 seasons rather, and I've got two more. I think maybe I think I got two more left, and I'm done. I'm done with Barney Miller, and I'm like, what am I gonna watch next? And the girl's like, well,
Sorry.
bow, 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 bow. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the girl's like,
Greatest
what?
greatest TV theme song ever.
It really is. It really is. But yeah, I'm a big WKRP in Cincinnati fan as well. And the girl's
Nice.
like, "Are we gonna watch that?" And I'm like, "You know what? I like it, but at the same time, I'm really because I've watched it so many friggin' times. I'm like, something else. I'm thinking maybe Three's Company." And she's like, "I've seen all those 100 times." And she goes, "What about Night Court?" And I'm like, "I forgot about Night Court. I used to love Night Court when it was out 20 years ago." So the next series is gonna be Night Court.
I think Night Court was longer than 20 years ago.
Probably. I don't know. But Throne Game was 20 years ago. Throne Game was around when Seinfeld was around. And it's the biggest show out there. And now George R. R. Martin has gotten everything he wanted, all of his fame, all of his glory.
Speaking
Everybody
of theme
knows.
songs,
Boom, 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 boom.
wah, wah. Sorry.
Ba-da-ba.
Yeah, so Martin, he's got everything he wanted.
Yeah.
And end of the day, you signed on the dotted line that they can make their show. He gave it up. He told them how it ends. He told them where the story goes.
Is now? Do you think that's the TV show? Is that going to affect the books at all?
Well, it may, because he has hinted online that uh, I heard some chatter from him like, ooh, he's envisioning like a twist, like something, and different characters have died on the show than have died in the books. Like
You know, Walking Dead.
there have been, yeah, there have been some changes like that, and he's like, so he's thinking about doing something a little different that they couldn't do on the show because they've killed off some of the characters that are necessary for that, which ticks me off on a couple levels because it's like, so I'm not going to get the original story. Now I'm going to get something else.
Right, because you got influenced by this fucking monster you created, asshole.
Yeah, because you have to change it because you gave them the first story. See, if he were smart, he would have given them an ending. He would have given them something he had thought about, but not necessarily the main thing.
There and
But
Kirkman.
he
I've
was,
heard him go. Well, the TV show is just basically like there's a lot of left hand turns. On the in the comic book, you always turn right to get where you need to go. And he's like, yeah, but what if they turned left? It's a what if kind of a thing. And I don't know how much it's affected the how much the TV show has affected the comics. I stopped reading the comic after they bashed Glenn's skull in with a fucking baseball bat, and his eye popped out, and he's screaming, "Maggie!" And he's just getting fucking
took
mercilessly
it like a
beat.
champ.
Dude, his eye popped out of his fucking head, man. After I read that book, after that issue, I made it 6 more issues, and I was like, I'm fucking done.
That
That was
my
horrible.
my buddy Josh, like, I think actively worried about me for a little while because we all read it, and I'm like, yeah, people are talking about how gruesome it was. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't pleasant, but what's the big deal?
Oh,
I
oh.
read I read a book called Crossed. Have you ever heard of this book?
I've heard of Cross. I've seen the pictures. Yeah, Miguel over at Gotham City Comics and Coffee in Mesa, Arizona, as a matter of fact, showed me, and I went, "Whoa!" He's like,
So
"Yeah."
so yeah, Glenn getting his head smacked up with a bat. Awful. Love Glenn, but
They're not going
you
to kill
know
him in the show. In
you
fact, I was talking to somebody, and they said
they're
that.
killing Glenn.
Well,
It's
I
going to
was
be
talking to someone who said, because I don't watch the show anymore either, that the guy who was the fake scientist, the mullet dude, that
uh-huh.
he's still alive and he was there when Neenan showed up.
Okay.
So I'm like, they're going to kill him.
They're
Clearly.
not going to kill him.
You think? Nah, I don't think they're going to kill Glenn. I think
Gonna kill
he's a
Glenn.
moneymaker.
Yes, but that's why. That's okay. And this is going to lead us back to my Jon Snow theory
Okay, good. We're
because
always full
that's
circle.
that's why that's why they did the thing with the dumpster. They made it look like Glenn died. Do you know about this?
No, I don't know
How
about this.
they made it look like Glenn died. They made it look like Glenn was in an unescapable situation, and they made it look like he was getting his guts ripped out. Turned out it was the guy who was laying on top of him, and he slipped away and made a miraculous escape. Then and it took a little while for and see, they overplayed their hand because they took his name out of the opening credits right away, and that's where I called shenanigans. Shenanigans. You never take someone's name out that fast. Lori's name was in the credits till the end of that season when she croaked. So
Yeah.
he's coming back, and he came back, and then there was another time where he was like getting backed up against a wall, and there were all these zombies about to eat him, but characters showed up, they machine gunned the zombies, and they got Glenn out of there. So twice they made us think Glenn was going to buy it.
They pulled their
There's
"Hey Underoos" moment.
Yes, and they're setting us up so that when Negan does this, we're not going to think it's Glenn, and next season is going to open with like Glenn's caved in skull.
I don't think they're going to do it.
It's Glenn.
I'll bet you a
All of
dollar.
my,
An
all of,
American dollar. I'll bet you
you're
one
on
American dollar. Okay.
a gold Sacagawea dollar.
Whoa. I can score that. I can
I
make
will
that
bet
happen.
you a Sacagawea dollar.
We'll do that. Okay.
All
That'll
right.
work through the camera thing.
That's fine too.
And real quick, when you're talking about things that are fucked up that you're like, I can never be scarred by anything, dude. There is a podcast called Sword and Scale. I've I've listened to all of them, and there are some really disturbing, incredibly fucked up episodes. But the last one, episode 70, just came out. It's actually two stories. The first story is about a bomb that went off in not Lake Havasu, Lake Tahoe in 1980 that blew up a fucking casino that I had no idea even happened. And
I never heard about it either.
dude, it's awesome. Just if you Google bomb casino Lake Tahoe, you can find news footage, specials about it. It's fucking crazy. The bomb this guy built, it's amazing. But anyway, that's the first half of episode 70 of Sword and Scale. The second half, again, the girl listened to it before I did, and she went, "Yeah, the second half is it's pretty fucked up." I'm like, "Okay, like I've heard a lot of these things." She goes, "Nah, this one takes place in Japan, and you know how the Japanese are." I'm like, "Yeah, they
Oh,
kind of like do things." They do things right. Like he goes,
take it up a notch.
yeah. So there is a book. If you Google 44 Days of Hell, and I'm going to tell you nothing about it, and I've seen some pictures. It is the most horrifying fucking thing I've ever heard about, seen. I only saw some of what happened about these with these 44. It is a fucking pure goddamn nightmare. You will not fucking read. You will not let your wife out of your sight. You will not let your girls ever leave your house. It is pure hell. And it's called 44 Days of Hell. And knowing you, you'll just be giggling like, like
There's
fingernails.
a book. This is a book called 44 Days of
There
Hell.
is well there's I googled there's books about this. Oh fuck yeah, there's books about this. It's but if you Google 44 Days of Hell, there's actually a WordPress I think is the first link. It takes place in Tokyo, Japan. Just Google it and you're gonna have fucking nightmares. Or just listen to Sword and Scale episode 70 and just kind of fast forward. It's about the last 20 minutes or so. Like,
Okay.
yeah, there goes your sanity. So bringing
Yeah.
everything back around with Jon Snow and all
Bringing
that.
everything back around because
So
they made us think Glenn could never die, and now he's going to die.
uh,
And with Jon Snow, how is that going to lead me back to Jon Snow?
about how they don't go through with things, I'm like, they're not going to do that. And you're
Oh
like, oh
no,
no, they're going
but
to fucking do it.
but picking up on clues. That's what I'm talking about.
Ah,
And so Jon Snow goes north, and he takes the black, and uh, presto changeo, time goes by, whole lot of fit hits the shan, and he ends up becoming Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He's a very young man. In the books, he's even younger. He's like 14 or 15. And and they elect their own leader, and he becomes Lord Commander of the Night's
how did he
Watch.
get that? Did he kick a bunch of ass or something?
He performed very well. He is known to be Ned Stark's son. He was quasi chosen by the previous Lord Commander because he political shit happened. He got assigned to the stewards instead of the rangers. He wanted to be a ranger. He wanted to be going out north of the wall fighting wildlings, all that shit. He got assigned to the steward. So the Lord Commander, the previous Lord Commander, made Jon Snow his personal steward so that he would get insight into the machinations of Castle Black, which is where they're based, and he was letting it be known that he intends Jon Snow to succeed him at some point. So Jon Snow becomes Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Jon Snow is elected the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. This is a facet of things that I haven't. I mean, there's millions of theories out there. I haven't read them all. I haven't read anyone latch onto that very strongly. Because you heard the vows. It
Yeah.
shall not end until my death. He took the black. He is the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's
And
Watch.
he will be until he dies.
Well, he was until he died. At
Ah.
the end of the fifth book, because he's a very young man and they're in a desperate situation. So long story short, he's innovating. He's doing things differently. He is partnering with the wildlings who are north of the wall, who have always been the enemy. But the wildlings are all trying to get south because they're like, dude, this bad shit's coming and we want to get as far south as south goes. And so he ends up forming an alliance with the wildlings and using them because there are actually like 18 castles along the wall, and only two of them get used because that's how few men they have. So he's using wildlings to man all of the castles
Hmm.
so that they have warning, and he's innovating, he's changing things, and he ends up getting assassinated by some of his own men at the end of it.
Nice. Because of him teaming up with the wildlings?
They come up, they all come up and they stab him and say for the watch because he's doing things that they don't like.
Yeah.
So the fifth book, the last book that has been published, ends with him dying. And that's where readers have been left. Now, that's where season 5 of the show left off. He got shanked. They did the whole thing. They did it slightly wrong, which is because this House Stark, Ned Stark, every house has a sigil and they have their family motto and all that. The sigil of House Stark is a direwolf.
Okay, I've
Early
seen that. Yeah.
early in the first book, they come across a litter of 6 direwolves who have no mother anymore. Ned Stark has 6 children, so they each take one of the direwolves as a pet. And over time, you're seeing one character in particular is a warg, which is what they call someone who can like take over the body of an animal.
Oh, okay. The
They like
Beastmaster.
beast, but not quite. They like their eyes go white and they're like limp, and then they are a direwolf. They take over the direwolf's body,
Oh,
and they're
okay.
or an eagle or whatever. So they have hinted Jon Snow's connection to his direwolf Ghost, who is pure white. John's connection to Ghost is not as strong, but they've hinted that that exists. They've shown you that in the narration. And as he's dying in the book, his last word is Ghost. And that's where he croaks. They didn't do that in the show, which is a shame because characters being risen from the dead is something that has come up in the books before. There's one guy who's been raised from the dead a few times, but he comments that every time he comes back, there's a bit less of him. He's a bit less of himself.
Hmm.
And I think in the books, Jon Snow says ghost. He kind of wargs into ghost as he's dying. So when he's raised in the books, I think the part of him that was in ghost will allow him to come back whole and to really truly be himself when he comes back.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
In the show, they totally just glossed over it. Just boom, he's back from the dead. Everything's fine.
Oh, so they
Uh,
brought him back on the show. They killed him
they
and then
brought him
brought him
back on
back.
the show. There's a cover of Entertainment Weekly saying he's back. It
How do
was
you bring
kind of
him back?
there is
Magic. The darkest magic.
pretty much
Yeah.
there's a few different competing religions. One of them is the Red God R'hllor, and it's through this god that people have been raised. And bing bang boom, long story short, for reasons that I can't possibly go into here, there's a red priestess at Castle Black when he dies. And on the show she's there, so that's how he comes back. That's how he's going to come back. Um and here's the thing. So, and now we've just gotten confirmation of R plus L equals J. So now we know that Jon Snow is the legitimate heir to the throne.
Nice.
There's a war going on about who should have the Iron Throne, who should be the leader. Jon Snow should be.
So he's not Ned's bastard son at all.
He's not. He is Ned's nephew
So why in the hell is Ned keeping his mouth shut?
because
Letting everybody think that he's got this little bastard kid running around.
when he is flashing back in the first book, and what makes it so obvious is there are a few scenes where he's remembering his sister in a bed of blood saying, "Promise me, Ned. Promise me." And Ned's good friend Robert was supposed to marry Lyanna.
Hmm.
Ned's sister, Jon's mother. As the story goes, Lyanna Stark was kidnapped and raped by Rhaegar Targaryen, the prince. That's not how it was. Those two were in love, and and I and many others believe that they were secretly married, even though Rhaegar had another wife. But he made it known publicly that he favored Lyanna Stark. We believe they were secretly married, which means that Jon Snow would be their legitimate child and the only surviving child of that line, male, the only surviving male heir of that line, and so he should be on the throne. But here's the thing: this is all going to come out. John's going to find out. Everyone's going to find out. And this other Daenerys, who it turns out is his aunt, but pretty much the same age, is coming to try to take the Iron Throne. We're all going to find out that it should be Jon on the throne, and he's not going to take it.
Like she said, promise me. So basically, going, don't let anybody know this is my kid. I don't want this kid living the life like we did. I don't want him to be a royal. I don't want him.
Well, no, no, she doesn't want him to be in danger
That's well, yeah.
because she was promised to Ned's friend Robert, who is a very wrathful person, and so he was supposed to marry Lyanna. And so odds are, if he knew that Jon Snow was this Targaryen offspring, and he believes that Rhaegar raped her, he'd kill that kid in a second.
Hmm.
And that's why Ned, one of the most honorable guys in the kingdom, takes that on and says, "No, I screwed up. I banged this tavern once. She gave me a present, and so I brought him home." And
So he was sticking to his guns. He really was the Captain America all this time. But I'm gonna
yep,
let everybody else think I'm a piece of shit. When in reality, he's protecting something else.
yep, taking the hit for the team, taking
Fucking
the hit
eggs,
for the
bacon, man.
team.
That's pretty badass.
I know, right? And so, but what you're going to see is, and this is also harkening back to the first book. John, uh, there are these guys, maesters. They're essentially priests. There's one assigned to each of the great houses. They're like a priest, teacher, doctor guy. They're like very well educated people,
They're like Clytus. Clytus, I'm bored. Give me something to play with.
kind of.
Ugh.
Uh, but they wear a chain as a sign of their service to whatever house they're in. Like they're not chained to something. It's
Not
just a
like, yeah, and they're not like
chain they wear around their neck.
Mr. T. They're
And
just like, yeah.
uh, there's a maester at Castle Black, and John learns who he was before he came to Castle Black. Maester Aemon at the Wall. He should have been king, the crazy king that everyone toppled, and why there was a war when when John was born. Maester Aemon at the Wall should have been king, but he didn't want it. He left it behind, and he took the black and let his little brother be king. Turns out that wasn't the best decision for the realm, but that's what he did. That's what Jon's going to do. Jon Snow was the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. And whenever a member of the Watch dies, they have his funeral, they burn him, and they say very solemnly, "And now his watch has ended." And so Jon Snow comes back from the dead, and one of his good friends on the wall is like, "Okay, so what do we do now?" And Jon Snow hands him his, puts his cloak in the guy's arms and says, "You do what you need to do. My watch has ended."
Yeah.
And he leaves because he
Fucking
got
nice.
assassinated by the
Yeah.
guy. He hangs the guys who assassinated
Very
him.
Harry Dresden of him.
Yes, and so he's like, "Dude, I'm out. I'm done." So, in his absence, someone else is going to be named Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. That person will be the 999th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. The army of the dead is coming. The White Walkers are coming. There's going to be a big war at the end of this series. Odds are, whoever the 998th Lord Commander is going to die.
Yeah. And the
And
thousandth one will rise up and defeat everybody and beat
and so
Luke Skywalker.
and so Jon Snow will be both the 998th and the 1000th Lord Commander of the
This is
Night's.
your prediction.
That's the aspect, the number. No one has really latched onto the numbers that I've seen. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, just so like in 10 years I could be like, when the books finally end, I could be like, "See, I told people." But
It's on the fucking internet. It's
it's
on
on the
Stitcher. It's on Google Play. It's now on iTunes. It's there.
you can click subscribe. You can give us a like, comment what you think about, Leonard Cho's crazy Jon Snow theory. But that's what I'm because I mean, a lot of people are figuring that he's not going to assume the throne. I don't even think he's going to stay at Winterfell and be king of the North. He's going back to the Wall. This is assuming there still is a wall by the end of the show. But with the White Walkers coming and everything that's going to happen, the Night's Watch is going to have, I think, renewed urgency, legitimacy, relevance. Relevance is what I'm trying to say. And so he will go back and he will be the 1,000th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
There you go.
And I don't think the realm is going to be united. I think you're going to go back to seven kingdoms because Westeros is known as the Seven Kingdoms, but like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they all bowed to the Targaryens. Why? Because the Targaryens had dragons.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, they had pet dragons that they would ride, and their fire would decimate armies. And so people were like, "Yeah, we'll bend the knees,
Yeah,
we'll
we're
bend
gonna
the
be your
knee,
friend. Yeah, we're gonna be
and
your
swear
friends.
feet." And now this Daenerys, the one I told you about, she has dragons. She was somehow able to raise three baby dragons to adulthood, and now she's on her way to Westeros to reclaim the throne that should be hers. But that's another video.
So you could do like every week we could do a podcast just on Throne Game here, and you would just go off on every member of the family, all the characters. We could do this for the next like what, fucking year.
Dude, get you know what? Leaf through one of these books in a book and go to Barnes and Noble. No, 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 no.
But
I'm not saying read the book. I'm saying go to the back and this is House Aaron and who's the head of it gives you like
oh wow,
at the back of each of these
like a family
books.
tree.
It gives you the family tree of all the major houses. It starts on page 810 and it goes to page 835 in this
Fuck.
edition. And it's just telling you all the main houses, who the characters are. And as the books go on, it's like, yeah, this one died at the Red Wedding, this one died here. Now this guy's head of the house and
But the one big question I guess I have about this then is because you've really, I mean, I'm intrigued about Barnes and Noble. You have Barnes and Noble still around somewhere? Bookstores?
yeah, I
Wow.
don't I don't go to them if I can help it.
But still, I haven't seen a bookstore in a while.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude, fuck yeah, they're like not.
That's fucked up. Well,
It
because around
is,
here, I loved Borders. I loved
dude.
Borders so much.
Go to the mall first thing, boom, right to the fucking bookstore, and then boom, right over to Sam Goody or whatever
Yeah,
bullshit record
but
store there was.
I've never liked Barnes and Noble. I've never felt comfortable in those stores. It always just felt kind of hoity-toity to me.
My buddy David refers to them as Barnes in Chernobyl.
Yeah, I, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I need a book and I don't want to get it from the library or order it online, I'll go to Barnes and Noble and I'll pick it up. But
Hmm.
I don't enjoy it.
It's that
It's gonna.
whole physically in your hand thing. What was it you don't like about it?
I don't know.
Huh?
I've never been able to really quantify it. I've just never liked that place.
You said hoity-toity, like the people who work there or the customers,
Well, just
the
the atmosphere.
atmosphere, the air of the
The
place.
atmosphere of it just kind of seemed like I don't know. And the one by us always has a creepy white guy checking you out.
Oh, you gotta watch those dudes.
Creepy old white guy. Like, yeah, please don't look at my children. Okay.
I had a customer who used to come into the comic book store every Thursday. So, as we know, Wednesday is comic book day. On Thursday, he would come in. I won't say his name because he's probably still alive, but his name, one day I'll probably reveal it, but I will say that it's a name you can't goddamn forget especially because of what he would buy. He'd spend $75 to $100 every week on porn comic books. Then he got one of my female employees and started giving her toenail polish. It was a girl I was dating, and she was like, "That weird guy comes in and he's giving me toenail polish." I'm like, "That's." She goes, "And this shit's expensive." And he
Wait,
was real awkward.
it's just like nail polish, right?
Yeah, same thing. But she,
Okay, there's nothing, or did he specify that he wanted her to use it on her toes?
I did. She
Okay,
used it on my toes. I would walk around with my toes painted every color of the rainbow, and people were like, "That's weird." I'm like, "Nah, this is weird. You want to hear weird? Let me tell you about weird."
let me tell you.
So there's how the journey that nail polish took to go from where it came from to get on my little piggies down here. It's
Probably mix
creepy.
semen in with it.
Oh God, no, they were sealed. I think they were sealed. Oh shit, you're right.
That's what he wanted you to think. He probably reseals them. He probably got that plastic that you wrap around a basket and just took a hair dryer to it.
Sitting at home
Yep.
jerking off, thinking about, oh, she's putting it on her nails. She's putting it on her nails. Oh,
If only he could see where it ended up.
oh my,
Ooh.
yeah, I know. That would scare. Oh yeah. I don't know. She had a dick. What? Huh? So anyway, that was it. Episode 8. Hang on, we can talk after. I'm just gonna end it, I guess, because it's been about. We're at an hour.
Yeah, we're like right about at an hour.
We're good to
So
go.
hey, anyone who sat through it, anyone who
Like, comment, share.
like, comment, share, subscribe,
Yeah.
tell me what you think. You think I'm way off base? Say you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Joe. I welcome that.
And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. All right, that was episode 8. Leonard Cho Speaks.
Now
Stick
I'll watch
around,
it.
and we'll see you guys.